Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Thursday. I'm Leslie Watkins. So I've got a lot of goodies to share with you today. I'm going to be continuing with my beautiful earth colors, which are the new 2325 in colors, which I'm in love with. So I have a couple of goodie bags already prepared. These are just some die cuts that I've made using the two stamp sets that I'll be using today. And there is an assortment of shapes and sizes and different colors, things that were left over from some previous projects. Sorry, I can't speak today. And some things that I just added so that we'd have plenty to select from. The card base is a fancy fold, and I got the idea from, let me check, this is Maria's Crafting Corner, and she's calling this the Fun Fold with Triangles. I've got the in color dots, which are very pretty, and they're also kind of they're a dome shaped dot, but they're a little bit on the flat side, so they go through the mail very easily. And I'm going to be using a lot of the in colors, but the ones in particular are going to be Wild Wheat, Lost Lagoon, which is a color that has come back from retirement, and Pebble Path. I have the textured floral bundle. So this is a floral stamp set that comes with all these beautiful dies, and I used quite a few of those. And then I grabbed the earthen textures because I wanted some of these kind of wheat shaped die cuts. And I really like these background stamps. We'll see if I'm going to use those or not. I'm not sure. But the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to cut the card base. So for that, I'm going to get out my trimmer. And I'm just checking to see if we're broadcasting, so let me have just a minute. And yes, that looks good. And hi, there's Beverly and Linda and Vicky and Linda. Linda says, curious, how do you keep your leftovers? I just, I save these leftover envelopes from other product. I also use the clear medium envelopes, and that way what I can do is I can coordinate either theme or color or shape or whatever, so that I just have these handy little packets and they store really easily. Basically, it's whatever I happen to have to hand. And where did I see? Beverly says, oops, late. I'm a little bit late today, Beverly, because I was busy cutting out shapes for today and I lost track of time. All right, so I'm going to use a piece of thick, very vanilla cardstock. Oops, that's not thick, that's the standard. Let's get a thick. And that way you'll be able to see it better. Here we go. And this is so easy. It's so easy, and it makes a really nice effect. So I'm just going to first score it lengthwise at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that at 5 1/2. Now, if you're new to paper crafting, one thing that I would really recommend that you get is a good paper trimmer. like this one. And what I love about this one is that it has the score blade as well as the cutting blade. You can extend the arm for extra long pieces of paper or cardstock. This goes to 17 inches. And the stop here, in other words, when you put your paper in here and it keeps it in place, that's going to ensure that you always have a perfectly square cut, which is really important. Okay, now, so I've got two halves that look like this, all right? So one of them I'm going to use for my card base, and the other one I'm going to cut down. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to line up the corner, make sure we're on screen here. So I'm going to line up the corner there to the corner here. And I will, after the video today, after this is live, so after I'm done, I will have a complete supply list in the description that you can click on and see all the different supplies that I've used. So there's no reason for you to have to write anything down. So I'm simply going to line up these corners just like this. Okay, so that point and that corner, and that's going to give me a triangle with a fold in it, all right? And the way we're going to use this is it's going to slip over the front portion of the card like so, okay, so that inside you have a pocket, so you can put some tags in there, all right? You could put some cash, or you could put a gift card. And then the front triangle is going to be free and act as a flap like that. Okay, and I'll show you more about what I do with that in just a moment. Now these offcuts are handy. You can use these for cutting out various die shapes, which I did, which I'm going to show you, or they can be cut down to tag shapes, whatever. So just hang on to those for now. I'm going to put this one aside because I'm using one of the in-color cardstocks for my card. I'm going to be using the Pebbled Path, which I really like quite a bit. Hey, there's Julia and Olivia. Hey, Olivia, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. How nice to have you here. And what are you having for lunch, I'd like to know. I bet it's something good. All right, so here is what I cut out ahead of time. All right, so there's my card base. This is the Pebbled Path. Here's my triangular fancy fold that's going to go over like that. For the inside of my card, I've cut out a piece of the Very Vanilla for a message, so I have a place to write, and for that I used the deckled rectangle dies, which you know I love. Got my envelope here. And then I have a couple of pieces of Lost Lagoon, and Lost Lagoon is that color I mentioned that has come back from retirement, and it's a really pretty color. And I'm thinking that I will use that as a mat on my triangular flap here. And what I did was I cut the see if I can show you. I cut these out of a slightly smaller rectangular shape so that I'd have a little bit of a reveal around the edge. And so this shape, or this rectangle, started at 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so if you use that slightly smaller size, what's going to happen is you're going to get a very nice little detail border around the edge. I think you can see that. Okay, now let's get into the goodie bag. So so before I get started, the first thing I want to do is make sure that I have the I guess we would call this the mat that's going to go onto the front of the card and have that facing up. So that would be this one. So I'm going to make sure I keep that facing up. And what I did was, using scraps that I had left over and using some die cuts that I had already cut previously, I cut out an assortment of shapes, and these are different kinds of leaf shapes. There's a couple of things in here that we're not going to need, so I'm just going to put those back. So this is that wonderful sort of fan-shaped leaf that you can fold into this wonderful kind of corrugated effect just by pinching on the center score line. And this is the one from Earthen Textures, and I have to say that when I saw this leaf in the catalog during the pre-order, it was this leaf that made me want to get this set, because I really love the way it has that three-dimensional quality to it. And I've also got some of the beautiful die cuts, and I want you to get a good look at these. These are the ones from the textured florals. I just want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Textured floral. All right, and then it's got a, I'm missing one here, but I can show you with this. All right, so you can see these wonderful die cut detail for your projects, for anything, for note cards, boxes, gift bag, whatever it is that you're making. These wonderful foliage die cuts are going to add so much to it, and I love how delicate this one is. So my thought process behind here is that the front of the card is going to look something like this. So I wanted some tone on tone in the background. So I'm going to begin by adhering. I'm going to move this to the side for a minute. And I just want to make sure I'm using my card base to show me where my boundaries are. So I'm going to be gluing these shapes. I'll zoom you in so you can see a little bit better. These shapes are going to be adhered to the front of my triangular fold, because this is then going to sandwich those stems in between. And I don't want these things, these delicate things, to be flopping around too loosely. So what I want to do is I want to catch some of the shape onto this fold so that they're nice and secure. And I hope that when you see me do this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But I just for location's sake, I want to see where I want this one. So I'm going to call that right about in the center. And I'm going to add my glue just a little bit on my stem. And this is an extra long stem, and we don't need all that because we're not going to see it. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit. And while I'm at it, I'm going to get my glue silicone craft sheet out so I don't get glue all over. Alright, so if I put this towards the center and catch that one long frond at the bottom, that's going to give me a nice secure adhesion. So I'm just going to hold that for a moment. Oh, they're having yogurt and fresh strawberries. That's what I'm having for lunch too, as a matter of fact, right after I do the live today. So Olivia, I like strawberries also. Okay, so there's that. Now, for more of my tone-on-tone texture, I'm going to go ahead and add this one. Now you can see I'm just adding the glue to the bottom portion. And I need to poke out that little thing there. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. So what I'm looking for is some really pretty textured detail that just pops up over the edge of that diagonal. Slip this one behind here. And I'm going to grab a tissue and just kind of blot away some of that extra glue. So there's my tone-on-tone base. It looks something like that. All right, so that's my background. Now I also want to add a little bit of color. So I'm going to go back to my die cuts here. And I think I'll pull this one out. This is the Lost Lagoon. And again, so here's a trick. So if you know you want to have a certain portion of your die cut that does not have glue on it, just pick it up in that section, and then you know not to put glue where your fingers are, because sometimes it can get a little bit confusing with all these layers. And I think I'll add another one of the same. And again, just want to check to make sure. So I'm off a little bit, so I'll have to trim that. I'll trim that away. Just snip that little bit off. That'll go back into my goodie bag for another project. And I want to put this one up on top, something like that. Okay. Again, grabbing that section with my thumb so I know where not to put glue. Hold that for just a moment. take a peek, see how this is looking. Open it up. That's pretty good. And I think I want to introduce another color here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one as well. Get that little thing out. There we go. And this, I'm just going to put right over the tops of those two. Okay, so that is the bottom layer. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount my mat over the top of that. Alright, so I can line that up with my fold and my edge, leaving a little bit of a reveal. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good burnishing with my bone folder. Crease. Now for this stage, I think it'll be easier if I adhere my triangular flap to the card. So the way I'm going to adhere this to the card is very simple. I'm just going to add glue along the bottom and along the edge of my inside. I've got some, where's my glue eraser? I'm going to remove this extra glue that was on my silicone craft sheet because I haven't had a chance to clean it lately, so let's just get that. If you don't have a glue eraser, you need a glue eraser. Alright, so the glue here is just going to go along this edge and the bottom. Just a thin line. Okay. And then I'm going to slip this into the fold. I want to make sure that that is butted up evenly. Okay, and I'm just holding that for a moment. Oh, Beverly had yogurt, blueberries, and bananas in a smoothie. Well, it must be the season for yogurt and smoothies and fruit. That sounds delicious. I am trying very hard to lose some of my COVID weight. And so I'm being a good girl, and I'm staying away from wheat is my downfall. And so far I feel a lot better too. Okay, so that's the basic card base. Now we're just going to dress it up. So it opens like the, oh, you're too close. Let me get you zoomed out a little bit so you can see better. So it opens up like this. All right, you have this very pretty kind of a silhouette effect on the front of the card, and then you've got your inside pocket that you can put whatever it is that you're going to be gifting somebody. All right, and I think I need a little more glue on the top corner here, so let's just take care of that. And I'm going to use a scrap to spread that around a little bit. Get it on the tip. There we go. Just hold that for a moment. Have you all been experimenting with these new in colors? You know, those of you who have been following me know how much I love them. What's your favorite color of the new in colors? I would be hard pressed to pick one because I really like them all, but what I particularly like about them is the way they all work together. All right, so on the inside of the card, I'm going to add my other color panel. Make sure I get into those corners. I'm also eating a lot of yogurt these days because I am taking some antibiotics. I had oral surgery a couple of days ago, and so I have to take the antibiotics for another week and a half or so, and so the yogurt, I'm hoping, is going to help build up my probiotics and my prebiotics. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. So now let's get decorating. So in my packet of goodies, I also have some stamped and die-cut flowers from the why do I always forget the name of this? Textured Floral. And they look like this. So I've got the Wild Wheat, the Lost Lagoon, Boho Blue. This is the Moody Mauve. And I want to begin with some of these leaves. Now, you can see that there's a little bit of the white showing around the edge. What I like to do is I like to sponge the edges of my stamped die cut. So I'm going to get out my Lost Lagoon ink and a little sponge, and I'm just going to tap the sponge into the ink, and then I'm just going to go around the edges and knock that white line down a little bit. And I'm not doing it everywhere, just kind of here and there. And I just think it makes it look a little more finished and a little nicer. I also have some of these die cuts that have been stamped off, so I've got a nice range of value. And those of you who paint with me understand what I'm talking about value. It refers to the lightness or the darkness of any particular color, and I think that it just helps to give the overall, well, I guess we call this a bouquet, a little more depth, and a little more, makes it look a little livelier. All right, so I think that's pretty good for those. And my idea is, let's move this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. My idea is to have a couple of these larger flowers, something like that, these leaves sort of sticking out. Maybe put that underneath there. And I also went ahead and I cut out some of the shapes in the brushed gold paper for a little accent. I also have in the brushed gold these flower centers, which I'm going to go ahead and adhere to my 2 roses. So I did stamp the stamens using the copper clay, but I also want a little bit of gold just to add a little sparkle here. So I'm going to get my tweezers, add a couple of drops of, oops, I got a piece of fuzz on there. Let's get the fuzz off. Add a couple of drops of tiny bits of glue. And I'm going to put this so that the copper clay is slightly offset to give me a sort of a shadow effect. And do the same with the other one. There we go. And Carol's here, and Lynn, hey, Lynn is here from England. How nice to see you here, Lynn. What a surprise. I don't know what time it is in England. I know we're 5 hours difference, I think. Okay, so there's a little bit of that sparkle, and I think, let me just take a look how this all comes together and see where I may have to cut that, I may have to cut this into smaller pieces, which would be really pretty. So I'll wait just a minute before I do that. So the first large row, well, first, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get these on. And this one. And this one I want to have tucked under my fan-shaped background leaf. All right, okay, so there's my 2 main things. Now this flower I'm going to glue down, but the second one I'm going to pop up on some dimensionals. So where are they? Here we go. Beverly says, working on a shadow box for a friend who just had back surgery. Ooh, using Pretty Peacock. Well, that'll help cheer things up. And the Earth and Elegance, very good. Well, I hope you'll share that, Beverly, in the Dandelion Paper Pals so we can see what you're working on. All right, so now this flower, I'm just staggering down a little bit, like so, and that's going to pop up a little. And then I have these, I love these things. that are in the textured floral suite. They're just these kind of, they look like, I don't know, maybe goldenrod or some sort of a beautiful spray, and they're just, it's just a wonderful shape. So maybe we'll have those coming down like that. Pop that under there. And I think maybe I'd like to add another light one. Let's see. This one looks pretty good. I'm going to add this one, and this time I'm going to put glue on the bottom portion and then add a dimensional on the upper portion so that that pops up a little bit. And I think I need some of my mini dimensionals for this. So here are the little tiny ones, which are great for getting into these small spaces. Making a big mess here. Let's clean this up a little bit. All right, tuck that under. There we go. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. And I'm not done. I'm determined to get some of these beautiful little accents in there with the gold sparkle. So I think the way to do that is to cut this. I'm just going to neaten that up a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah, that's going to be really pretty. Okay, so now I'm just going to dot some of these leaves with glue. But I want to make sure that I blot that so that I don't get the glue all over, and then I'll use my tweezer, see if I can get this tucked under. I think I grabbed it from the wrong side. Let's get it from this side. And tuck that right under there. Oh, I like that. Okay, and I've got this, oops, I picked it up. There we go. And then I've got this little piece that I snipped off, which is a really pretty shape, and that'll look nice over here. This is why I'm always looking for these wonderful foliage die sets that have these beautiful designs to them. I mean, this particular one I like because it has a nice kind of a curvy quality to it, which adds a lot of grace to the design. So let me get it from this side. And get that under. I'm hitting a dimensional, so let me, there we go. Oops. Okay, all right, so that is my card front. I'm going to add a little bit of extra embellishment at the end, but before I do that, I want to get to the inside here. And I have my panel for my message, but I thought it'd be fun if we just put a little bit of a decoration on there as well. And for that, I'm going to grab the earthen textures, and what I want is this pretty little background stamp. Yeah, that would be this one. Okay. So I'm going to mount that up on my block, and I'm going to be using the Lost Lagoon for this. And I'm going to have to get my stamp pad out because I'm going to be going off the edge a little bit. I just want to add a little, kind of a soft background. I'll do a little stamping off. Okay, and then I can add a little flower on top of that with one of my die cuts. So let's see which one. I want one of these kind of smaller leaves. So I'll use that one. Oops, wrong glue. Just kind of put that like so. And I think I'll use this flower, but this one needs a little bit of a sponging around the edges. So again, just get my stamp pad. There we go. It's better. Because this is on the inside of the card, I'm going to glue it down flat. And actually, I don't mind if it goes over the border a little bit because it's going to add a pretty shape. Now, if you want, you can stamp a sentiment in here. I'm going to leave mine blank for a message. Actually, I find it easier to line things up sideways sometimes, so I'm just going to put this like so. Just kind of scooch that into position. All right, and let's zoom you out so you can see the whole card. So there is how it looks so far. This is looking a little bit empty to me now. Maybe Maybe add another flower over here. I think I like that. And this way the whole thing will, the design will hold together when the card is on display. Oh, that's interesting. I just saw Kelly says that she says, do you know why the catalog states the Earthen Textures stamp set is photopolymer, but in reality they are red rubber? Kelly, I think that they're trying something out. I think that you might be able to choose whether you want to have something in photopolymer or if you prefer to have it in the red rubber. So if you, I'm not positive, but if you check back and look at the catalog more closely, I think you might find that there's an option. So yeah, that's a good observation. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the answer is to that. Okay, we're just about done here. I'm just kind of fussing now with adding some little extra bits. This is a kind of a craft along with me video because I had a visual idea of what I wanted to do, but I hadn't quite worked out all the little details. So I'm thinking that this is going to add a really pretty kind of an echo on the inside of the card. I'm going to lift that up a little bit. And one more thing I want to do is add some gold to the middle of this flower, because I have another little gold piece ready to go, which is why these things, these little goodie bags with all the bits are so fun to have on hand, because it gives you a chance to really exercise your creativity and add some things that you may not have thought of right off the bat. Okay, so there it is. And I think I have a gift card here somewhere, so you can see that you could put in something like that, all right, as a gift. You could put in some cash. If you look at Maria's video, you'll see that she added some decorated tags, which is adorable. So that's something else that you can do. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of bling, because I can. Why not? And for that, I have these things, which I love. So I think I'll use some of the wild wheat. Sorry, I'm off camera. Hold on. Hold on, folks. Let me get reorganized here. So I'm just going to add a... Oh, I don't want to do it on the inside. I just want to do it on... So I'm just adding the extra embellishment to the outer part of the card so that it folds flat. And I'm just sprinkling a medium, a large, and a small. Okay. And I don't think it needs any of the twine, actually. I kind of like it just as is. So I hope you enjoyed that. This, if you check out Maria's Crafting Corner, who I originally saw this type of card on, you will see that she's done it in using several different stamp sets and dies. It's extremely versatile. So you could use this for any occasion. I mean, from summer through the holidays and Christmas, this would be a really great way to present somebody with the cash or the gift card, whatever it is that you may like. And what's really pretty, now I know you're not going to be able to see this, but you can imagine how that looks all opened up with this wonderful silhouette shaped edge. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be listing all of the supplies that I used to create this card today, and there is also a really awesome special deal going on right now. So if you are thinking that this might be a good time to get some extra paper crafting or watercolor or ink painting supplies, if you're just getting started and you'd like to get some of the bigger items like the cut and emboss machine or the paper trimmer, you could save a lot of money using the deal that's going on right now. Just send me a message or email me and I'd be happy to walk you through it. So thank you so much. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.